Hi, this is Eric Mayer from Minnesota Kung Fu. Today we're going to talk about cardboard swords and making them. And in the title I mentioned how you can make them more realistic than metal swords. Now when I say that, I don't mean the high-end handcrafted replicas, which often run hundreds and even thousands of dollars. Obviously those are very nice, but they're also very expensive. I'm talking about more of the cheaper ones, what we used to sometimes call wall hangers. I used to teach a Himma style class back in the mid-90s, along with doing the Chinese and Indonesian and Filipino martial arts. And a lot of swords at sea were basically assembly line made things that look good hanging on a wall, but they aren't balanced at all. They aren't the correct weight. They just really aren't usable in fighting. And they're usually cheap quality metal. Even some of the ones made for martial arts, you'll see some of the ones made for demos, they'll use what's called wushu steel. That's really flexible and it's not very realistic. This one's not as bad because it's stiff down here. At least some of them you can bend all the way down to handle. Another thing you'll see sometimes is the really, just again, kind of simply line made sword where the back and the front exact same width. It's basically just machine cut single piece of metal. Usually they're heavier than they should be and they aren't weighted properly. Sometimes you'll see the ones they're called combat steel, combat worthy, and some of them can be good, but I remember one guy brought one and it was like 6 pounds, and the real sword that it was based upon was only a little bit over 2 pounds. So when you have something that's 2-3 times the weight of what a real sword is, it might be good for building up strength, but you can risk getting tendonitis, and it's just not practical to use on a day-to-day basis. With cardboard swords, one of the nice things about it is you can basically make them however you want, to your own specifications. So you can make them as realistic as you want. You could make something like this one's based upon a knightly sword. Or my son, for a zombie game day that he was going to be in, recently made this one, which is a monkey wrench. Now you can see this one's paper mache to give it a little more durability. So you can use your imagination, make it realistic or make it not realistic, and that's up to you. The way I tried to make them realistic, I first learned the basic techniques for cardboard swords just 3 years ago when I started working at a camp, Adventures in Cardboard, and that's a kids camp. Basically the kids make armor, weapons, they make a full-scale castle which you can walk up inside with a wooden frame on, and then they do role-playing and battles and duels, skirmishes, capture flag. It's really fun camp, and they're not paying me anything to say this. I just really like the camp. My son goes there also. So I got the basic technique from them, and then I basically just tried to make it more realistic with my knowledge of martial arts and swords in general. The basic technique is you take this piece of bamboo. This creates the bones or frame of the sword to give it some stiffness, so it's not just floppy. And you can buy these just at like a garden store for staking up tomatoes, and they come in different thicknesses. And basically what you're going to do is take 2 pieces of heavy-duty cardboard, like from appliance boxes, like refrigerator box or something, and put on either side of the bamboo. Then use masking tape to wrap it up. Afterwards, you could then add another layer of duct tape if you want, or paper mache to make it more durable. What I find though, after you've added a few layers of tape, they tend to get kind of blade heavy. So if you want to balance it correctly so that it feels right, you can put weights. I'd use like pennies, nickels, washers, just any flat piece of metal, and put it under the tape in the handle, grip, or the pommel area until you find the center of balance you want. Basically what center of balance is if you take a sword and you hold it and you find where it balances, that's your center of balance then. The swords would vary depending on the type of sword and even personal preference where the center of balance is. If you have it closer to here, it's going to have a lighter weight feel on it. Most swords are somewhere in about this range for the center of balance though. Somewhere between the crossguard and about half dozen inches out. So you can just keep putting tape or counterweights back and forth until you find the center of balance you want. Another thing you can do if you really want a realistic feel is you can find the actual weight of the original sword, and you can weigh it as you tape it up and weight it until you get the exact ounce weight of a real sword. I didn't have a scale with me, so these aren't the exact weight, but they're close. Most real swords were only about 2.5 pounds, give or take a pound, more or less. You don't want something that's 5-6 pounds, and you don't want something that's half a pound. You want something in around the 2.5, 2 to 3 pound range. And again, you can look up some of the high-end metal sword replica people will list weights, and they base their swords on real swords. So you can go to them and find center balances and weights. and thereby accurately make your own sword. Another thing I did to get the actual lengths correct is you can take books like this one, Encyclopedia, Illustrated World Encyclopedia of Swords. You see, the last sword I did was based kind of on this sword. So a lot of times they'll give a total length or a blade length on it. They won't usually give, unfortunately, on these stuff like weights and balances. So, or they won't give the lengths of like the cross guards, grips, and pommels oftentimes. But they give a blade length. What you can do, let's say, the real sword has a 30-inch blade. You can take a ruler and measure the picture. Just for simplicity, let's say the picture's blade was 3 inches. Then that's 1/10 size of the real one. So you can find the scale of the picture compared to the real sword. At that point, then I can measure the photo, and let's say the crossguard is a 1/2 inch. Then you just multiply that by 10, wherever the scale we figured out was. Then you know that the real sword had a 5-inch crossguard. So you can measure off each part on the picture, and then compare that to the blade to get the correct proportions. On the cardboard, then what I would usually do is just mark the points for the correct lengths using a yardstick, and then I freehand draw the swords by looking at the picture to the correct lengths. That way you know that you have the approximate dimensions. So if you get the center balance correct, you get the weight correct, and then you get the lengths correct, you pretty much have something that's going to feel like a real sword. Obviously it's not as durable as a real sword, but these cardboard ones actually are pretty durable. If you do full contact with the dowels hitting as hard as you can, you will break them, of course. But I broke metal wooden swords doing that also. But if you do light contact, just touching, and you can, at the kids camps, I've only broken 2 swords in the 3 years I've been there. And sometimes I'll be dueling, you're fighting 100 kids a day. The very first sword I made, which wasn't based upon a real sword, it was just based upon kind of a camp template. I broke it where I was fighting like 4 kids, and someone pushed in with their shield really hard and just snapped the sword in half. And that can happen, but I basically just cut the sword open, took out the broken bamboo, put in a new piece of bamboo, taped it back together. 10 minutes, I was back out there fighting again. So they're fairly easy to repair. The one thing I warn you about is if you are thinking about having to repair it, I use bamboo on the crossguards too, so to give more durability so they can actually take a blow. But originally I was taping the bamboo that goes in the blade with the bamboo in the crossguards. What I found is this sword broke when one of the campers was using it once, and it was very hard to get the bamboo out because I had taped it to the crossguards. So you probably don't want to put too much tape on the bamboo, otherwise it'll be hard to fix if it does break. Let me just run through some of the swords I've made so you can kind of see. So again, that was the first one that I was holding up earlier. Then I made a katana and wakizashi on here. You can see those. I made a English hanger style sword, this is the main one I use in sparring. And usually, because I'm fighting a lot of kids at a time, we'll use 2 of them in combination for at the camp. And this one I've had for 2 years, never broken it. So again, they can be pretty durable. Chinese Jin or Tai Chi sword on here. The one I was using at the beginning, the Chinese Dao or Chinese broadsword. German 2-handed sword. And European knightly sword from about the 1300s. So you can see some of the ones I've made. One other thing I mentioned, if you are making to spar with, don't have the bamboo come all the way to the tip. It'll hurt when you use the thrust. Leave about 1 inch of cardboard from so it has a little bit of a cushion they can bend on. Recently I've experimented with other things, like I was wrapping with some bicycle inner tube just to give a softer grip and kind of look a little bit better. But I found this makes my hands sweat, so I'll probably switch to a fabric wrap next year. So, I'm still learning and experimenting. You kind of have to try out some different things, but anyways, that gives you a kind of basic starting point. If you want more information, you always contact me. Thanks.